What's up, everybody, and welcome to the In Love with Horror live news show. My name is AJ. Christy will not be joining me like she usually does for the Sunday live news morning show. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, so it'll just be me talking about the news for the past week. Wasn't a whole lot of news anyway, wasn't that much, but we'll definitely be diving into it. And since there wasn't as much news this week, I figured it'd be kind of cool to kind of have like a topic discussion within this news live show around weapons. Chrissy and I have our review coming out here pretty soon. We've seen the film, and I figured I'll share a little bit of how I feel about the film. Not in depth. We'll save that for the review video, but give you a little hint of how I feel, and then talk about the concept of misleading trailers, because I feel like that's a trend with Zach Kreger films and some other films, and I thought it'd just be an interesting discussion to have here as part of the Sunday news show. Shout out to Mr. Dan in the chat. Good morning, Mike. What's going on? Appreciate y'all joining in for the live show and contributing to the discussion. As always, shout out to our YouTube members and our Patreon members. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all for supporting us on that level. Gotta do some quick housekeeping too. Talk about Scream if you've seen this. That's our weekly podcast series that we do over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Super dope weekly show that we do where we cover an older film. So the last one we did, the episodes drop every Wednesday, and the last one that we did was on Hell House LLC, because at the end of the month, what was like 2 weeks from now, we got no less than that, like 10 days, like a week and a half, we got Hell House LLC Lineage dropping. So we thought it'd be really fun to go back to the first film and talk about that on our Scream if you've seen this weekly podcast series. So go check that out over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. With that, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into the little bit of news that we got this week to talk about for horror films and horror TV. Starting off with a horror film that dropped this year, part of a franchise that did numbers, and they was like, well, we got to keep it going. And that is all about Final Destination, y'all. So it has been announced, pulling this from the Hollywood Reporter from this week, that a new Final Destination movie is in the works with the Bloodlines co-writer, who was Laurie Evans Taylor. She's going to be penning the next installment in the Final Destination franchise. So, of course, Final Destination Bloodlines was the sixth installment in the series. It made $286 million worldwide, with 138.1 million of that being domestic. That's big money right there. And so naturally, Warner Bros. Yeah, Warner Brothers was like, oh well, I mean, shit, people want Final Destination back. You know what I'm saying? It's like they want to be back in that world, which we do love the Final Destination world. But Christy and I were talking about this, and she made the comment, and I do agree that Bloodlines very much felt like a signing off for the franchise, like a conclusion. I mean, I get it that death, you can keep this shit going forever. You know what I'm saying? You can keep making Final Destinations infinite amount, as long as your creative brains can keep coming up with ridiculous situations of people getting killed. You can just keep it going, and people can just keep cheating death and just keep getting taken out. So yeah, I mean, not surprising, but definitely interesting. I really do hope though that the same love and care that they put in Bloodlines, they put into whatever the seventh installment is going to be. We got Mike in the chat who said, so happy we are getting that sequel, but not surprised. Yeah, definitely not surprised for sure. Now, they did mention that a lot of the same producers would be coming back to produce on this film. From John, you got John Watts and a bunch of other people, John Watts' wife and stuff. Diane McGoonigle. I'm probably pronouncing that way wrong, but a lot of the same producers coming back from Bloodlines to help craft this next film. Super dope though. I'm cool with that, as long as they take the time to make it something special. I think what was dope about Bloodlines though was the fact it was Bloodlines, right? Like it actually had all that connective tissue running throughout the series. And then of course, we had that final signing off from the legend himself, rest in peace, Tony Todd. Getting the origins of that character. So like, it was like that connective piece that kind of explained how everything popped off. So I do wonder if this next installment could capture some of that same magic. I don't know, but hopefully it can. But yeah, y'all, new Final Destination 7. Final Destination 7 is in the works. Let me know down in the comments. How are you feeling about that? Are you excited for that? Does it make you nervous? The series has had dope moments, but the movies aren't always great. So hopefully they can keep the trend going. Now, in the next piece of news that we wanted to talk about on this show uh, was a Stranger Things spinoff. So this is kind of interesting. Let me share the screen here. There it is. So apparently, Finn Wolfhard, the main kid from Stranger Things, did a cover story with Variety, and mentioned that they, um, and I couldn't really tell if it was either in the works or being made, but I guess there's like this Stranger Things spinoff that they did that they claim was like David Lynch's Twin Peaks. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting, bold claim. But within the article, they were talking about how this is going to be like this anthology thing, take place in the Stranger Things world. No mention of where the Stranger Things series is set, which is what is in Hawkins, right? Yeah, no mention of that, no mention of these characters, but the whole point and idea being that there's these like gates and stuff. They're in Hawkins, in Russia and stuff like that. Maybe there's other locations that are experiencing things leaking out from the upside down. So I was like, well, you could just come with a bunch of stories that tie into the Stranger Things world. But I thought that was definitely kind of interesting there. Jumping over to the chat, Mike, in regards to the Final Destination story, had said Final Destination idea: the premonitioner saves people but dies within the tragic accident, leading survivors to figure it out on their own. Oh, that would be crazy. That would be super crazy. Because they would have no idea, like who's next, or anything, and it'd be a complete mystery to even us as the audience. I guess it depends. If we can keep track on our own of who died, and when the big event happens, we can kind of figure it out on our own. But it would just be crazy to watch them try to figure that out, even if they could or couldn't. But they would just be getting picked off, and I guess we'd just be surprised on how that all goes down. But that's interesting, though. I would watch it for sure. I'd watch it. But now this Stranger Things, man, this story I think is actually Stranger. It's weird because Stranger Things is one of those things that's been going on for so long. They got the fifth and final season coming out at the end of this year. Was it November 26th, and then December 25th, and then December 31st? They're dropping the finale on New Year's Eve. I was like, it's kind of dope, and that's also kind of like, I think, bold of Netflix too, because most people, I feel like, go out and do stuff for New Year's. So I thought it was kind of surprising they would drop it on there. Like, maybe they expect people to not be going out as much and be at home, and I kind of feel them on that, given how crazy things in this world is right now. But this is cool though. I'm one of those people that I really like anthology series. I like the stuff like Black Mirror. I obviously like the VHS stuff. I like they did that recent thing on Amazon with the video game stories. It was called Secret Level. That was an anthology, and they just did different game stories. That was super dope. And then you got Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities over on Netflix. That was anthology. And then what was the I'm blanking on the Indonesian dude's name that had the was it Daydreams and Nightmares Netflix anthology too? That was super fire too. So I love anthologies. So Stranger Things anthology. I think it's got a lot of potential to be crazy dope. Uh, let's see here. Oh yeah, there you go. Joko Anwar. That's right. Yeah, that Daydreams and Nightmares. That's a dope. That was a dope Netflix anthology. If you haven't seen it. Mike said it's been for Stranger Things. It's been going on so long because so much time between seasons. I love this show, but ready for it to be over. I agree. It has been running for a long time. Like so much so that you know they were kids in the first season. These people grown now. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny to see, like even watching that trailer for that final season. It's funny to see like just the age gap, like how much they've grown up within the context of this Netflix show, almost like some Harry Potter type shit with the movies. But nah, I think it's cool. I like Stranger Things, so I'll take more Stranger Things if done really well. Um, but to the viewers and listeners, let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about uh, a potential Stranger Things spinoff? I'm surprised. I guess I'm not surprised, and I am kind of surprised they're going to keep it going because I guess it's a moneymaker. People love it, so why not? Now, let's go ahead and jump to the next story. And this one is all about Black Phone 2, y'all. So Collider had got like a little exclusive image for Black Phone 2, and they were running a story over on that. And so their exclusive image that they had, and I'll put it up on the screen. If you're listening on the podcast, basically it shows what's the kid's name, Finney, like in that phone booth. If you've seen the trailer, you know what the phone booth that I'm talking about. He's got the black phone in the phone booth. He's on the phone, and then you got the grabber just like staring him down the outside. Grabber looking creepy. I definitely like this image, and I was based off just the trailer. I was super hyped for this film, and it was funny too because after that first film, you kind of wonder like where can they go with the second one. And to be honest, I fully expected them to do like some prequel type shit, but to go toward in this like Freddy Krueger direction, I think is genius. I think it's fire, and I think it'll have the potential to set up for some really good scares. Because that was like really my only problem with the first Black Phone was it just wasn't super scary. Like it had very few moments that like really had some crazy tension. Like when he was sneaking out of the basement and the grabber was just chilling, no shirt on in the chair with the mask on. Like that was a very like creepy and tension filled scene. But other than that, I just feel like there wasn't a lot of like horror elements. But with Black Phone 2, given this Freddy Krueger mode, I think there's a lot of potential for it to be um, actually decently scary. Of course, Scott Derrickson returning to direct this one, and of course, based off the Joe Hill short story, the first movie was. And I think recently too, I don't have the story pulled up, but the film was rated not too long ago, like rated R for like strong bloody violence and gore or something like that. So I was like, oh, that's dope. I don't remember actually what was the first movie rated. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Because I can't remember if the first movie was rated R as well, or if that was PG-13. Okay, yeah, the first movie was rated R too. But yeah, it was like rated R for like strong bloody violence and gore. I'm pretty sure that's what it said for Black Phone 2. Mr. Dan in the chat said, yes, they could definitely up the scares with Black Phone 2. Yeah, they can. And they can make it dope and make it genuinely scary, which is my only gripe I have with the first one. Because other than that, I thought it was a dope little film. But yeah, y'all, Black Phone 2, let me know in the comments if you've seen the image. What do you think about it? Are you excited for this one? Especially given how they're going to run this, kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street type mode. They could really keep it going too. I hope that personally, I hope this is the final Black Phone because I really kind of want Scott Derrickson to move on to something else. Because that dude made one of my favorite horror films of all time, and Sinister. That's one of my favorite horror films of all time, and I want him to go do something that's kind of at that caliber of horror, like scariness, because that's what I'm all about. when it comes to the horror films. I want to be scared, you know. And I feel like a lot of films these days is really like lacking that. They don't make them like super scary no more. Right, y'all. Let's jump into the next story. This one is all about another video game adaptation. It's crazy because I feel like there's a moment in time where like it was like taboo to try to grab a video game adaptation because like it was just gonna fail. You know what I'm saying? But uh, we've been getting them left and right, and some of them have been really good. Now, obviously, some of them still been bad, but some of them have been really good. And there's plans to do even more. So this next story is all about another video game adaptation. And before I get to that, Mike in the chat said Sinister Tapes. We want it, Scott. Yeah, you could do a Sinister Tapes. You could, I mean, because that dude, Bagul probably got like mad, catalog of content that we could view for sure. I'd be all about it though. You can even do it in the future. Like you can go crazy with that shit. You could do like a sci-fi sinister tapes because it's now like year 2500 or some shit. Um, but yeah, you can get real creative with that. But yeah, so this next video game adaptation is for a small little indie game called Exit 8. I'm not sure if any of y'all are familiar with this. Um, I'm actually familiar with it uh, because of our son. He's the one that showed me this game. But Neon has acquired the North American rights for Khan's midnight hit Exit 8. So this is based off of the video game, also by the same title, Exit 8. Just reading from the article here over on Deadline, Neon has acquired North American rights to Japanese thriller Exit 8, which world premiered at the Cannes Film Festival as part of the Midnight section. Based on the hit video game, the film will make its North American debut next month at the Toronto International Film Festival in the Centerpiece section. Neon plans a theatrical release in early 2026. Exit 8 is directed and written by Genki Kawamura, who has produced numerous films and won the Best Director Award for his debut feature, 100 Flowers, in 2022 at the 70th San Sebastian International Film Festival. Now, I feel like every film at these festivals we get standing ovations, but it did mention that it had strong reviews out of Cannes and that there was an 8-minute standing ovation after it debuted at the festival. I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Now, if you don't know what Exit 8 is, let me read you this little synopsis that they have here within Deadline. It says the story follows a man trapped in an endless, sterile subway passageway who sets out to find Exit 8. The rules of his quest are simple. Do not overlook anything out of the ordinary. If you discover an anomaly, turn back immediately. If you don't, carry on. Then leave from Exit 8. But even a single oversight will send him back to the beginning. And they do have a trailer out for this. So if you go on YouTube, you will see a trailer as well. What's going on? We got Cinematic Nightmares podcast. What's going on? And then what did Mike say here? I think the video game horror movie resurgence is an extension of the nostalgia bait catering to millennials, and I'm here for it. Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like it's especially because video games are so I feel like they're more popular than they've ever been, and so I feel like, and also they've gotten more narrative focused, and their creative concepts have gotten really interesting. And so I feel like naturally people just look at it as an easy grab in some kind of ways, to be like, well, this story's already here, so we already have the basis. We just got to write the screenplay. Let's just grab this this video game rights. But this one is definitely interesting because it's such a small game. But like, yeah, like the Deadline said, in the game, you're literally just like walking down these little passageways, and you're trying to find stuff that might be out of order. Like maybe this poster is like wrong, or the dude is walking. There's like a guy walking by, he's got the wrong pair of shoes on than the last time. So you got to like turn around and go in the opposite direction to actually move forward. It's super trippy, but it's a dope little like thriller horror game. And I thought it was cool that Neon picked this up. I feel like Neon is definitely like, going hard right now, trying to securing the rights to a lot of films. Recently they've been pushing Shelby Oaks because they acquired the rights to that like a while ago. Now they're doing the big marketing push for that film right now, which just had their trailer drop recently. And Christy and I did a reaction to that too. If you go over on the YouTube channel, we did a reaction to that. Um, but yeah, I thought this was dope, man. Exit 8. And I think it's cool. I imagine that the developers that made this game, because I'm sure it was a small group of people probably feeling real good that they made a movie off of it. And the trailer, I think, actually looks really good too. So y'all let me know in the comments how you feeling about Exit 8. Let me know if you've played it before, and if you think they could make a movie adaptation work. It sounds like it was a hit at the Cannes Film Festival. So let me know what you think they could do with this. Now, the last piece of news that I wanted to talk about before I got into the main topic of this video was, the new Him trailer that dropped this week. Now, we did do a reaction to this on the YouTube channel. Definitely check it out because that trailer was super fire. And Chrissy and I were already like dumb hype for this film, but that new trailer I think just put it to like a whole new level. Seeing the glimpse of the sports movie aspect. It wasn't that long ago that the Justin Tipping did that. I believe it was Empire. They did that story with the interview. We talked about him being like a combination of Friday Night Lights and Nosferatu. And I feel like with this latest trailer, like you definitely are getting like those vibes because it has that sports, that sports entertainment type vibe at first, and then it quickly starts to descend into like the hell zone. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely seems like this movie is going to be super trippy, probably really gory, and then potentially super dark. If you saw a reaction, one thing we were talking about was like we hope it's not a situation where like it's all in dude's head or something like that. Hopefully that's not the case, because I really just want it to be just supernatural or just disturbing or whatever the case may be. They can definitely go with a dark ending on this because maybe Tyreek with his character like goes full Satanist mode. You know what I'm saying? And then he becomes this great quarterback. But yeah, the trailer looked really good. Even more hype for this coming out September 19th. Super excited for this one. I'm hoping that it does really well, and I'm hoping that it's good. Fingers crossed, y'all, that it's really good. Mike in the chat said, yeah, this trailer gave a lot, but still didn't really give anything away, hopefully. Yeah, I agree with that. It didn't, like, obviously you got to see new imagery, but you don't really know what's going on. Like, you can't really tell. Mika from Cinematic Nightmares podcast said, that's what I think. It's in his head. Let's hope that's not the case, because that's just not fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess for me personally, I just don't think it's fun when it's like, oh yeah, like psych, it's all in his head. Like this stuff isn't really here. I don't know. I feel like it's an easy like, scapegoat, a cheap trick to be, unless it's done really well. Unless they can somehow make it super interesting and it's done really well. I just think it takes some of the fun out of it. Within a horror film, I feel like it takes some of the fun out of it. But we'll see. Y'all let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about Him? Are you super excited? Did the trailer make you even more hype? Let me know in the comments. Mike in the chat said, I want this to be like voodoo-ish and Marlon's character to take over all new stars' bodies. That's interesting, Mike. That's interesting. I didn't think of something like that, but that could be very, very interesting. I gotta try to think about that when I go into the movie. But hopefully it's not in his head. It's not like some allegory type thing for CTE. I just hope that's not the case, because that is just not what I want. But we'll see. We had somebody on our video who commented saying that they saw a test screening. And I'm always skeptical when people say they've seen test screenings or they heard about a test screening. But supposedly this person said they saw a test screening and they said that it's very much not all in his head. So hopefully that's true. All right, let me go ahead and switch to kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about here. And this is kind of in regards to weapons. Now, Christy and I have not posted our our review yet for Weapons. We have seen the film already, and we will be, uh, posting that review. We're going to do spoiler free and a spoiler discussion on this one. So I'll hint at how I felt about the film a little bit, give you a sneak peek at that review element. But I just wanted to bring up the Rotten Tomatoes on here for Weapons. It's sitting at 95% for critics, and then 87% for audience. Definitely, it seems like critics are huge on this film. If you're not familiar with Weapons, of course, which I'd be surprised if you're not, because they had a big ass marketing push. But Weapons centers around 17 kids from this classroom that just one night wake up at 2:17 a.m. and just run out of the house and disappear. And it all was from Julia Gardner's classroom. So there's this concept of like, well, did she do something with the kids? Where these kids go? We got to find what happened, and we're trying to figure it out. So that's the mystery of this movie. And I'll leave it at that. This is going to be, I'm not going to mention no spoilers in this discussion, just in case you haven't seen the film. But one thing I want to talk about with the movie is the idea of, like horror movie trailers, especially like being misleading. And I personally kind of feel like now that I've seen two of Zach Cregger's films that like his films seem to be one of the culprits of this, of like the marketing and the trailers giving you the idea that that this is a serious, horrific type of movie, and then you go watch the film and the vibe of that movie just does not match the trailers. You know what I'm saying? I felt that way with Barbarian, where I felt like the trailers presented Barbarian as this, like, I don't know, like super atmospheric, like haunting, tale in this house. It was creepy as hell, and I feel like the first half of Barbarian felt that way until the reveal happens, and then it goes into like a different direction. I won't mention more than that, just in case no one's seen it. But again, with that movie, I feel like the trailer's kind of a little bit misleading on like the film, and personally, I feel like Weapons is the same case, where the Weapons, man, I went into Weapons thinking this junk was going to be, super serious, dark tale, kids missing, like, and obviously like a mystery component, and that's just kind of not really what this film is. This film, it's got a lot more like comedic elements to it, where they kind of like where they kind of take away some of the seriousness of the film by having so many like little goofy comedic moments. And I know some people like that, but I personally don't like that. But yeah, let me chat real quick before I keep going. We're here. So Mika said, "I saw this. I'll save my thoughts." We got Michael in the chat. What's going on, Michael? Said, "Hey, good morning. Just saw it Thursday. I enjoyed the movie, but I do agree the trailers can be misleading. The Village might have started this years ago." Yeah, that's another great example. The Village is definitely like one of those classic movies that kind of have that like bait and switch type of vibe when it comes to the marketing and trailers. Mika also said that the trailer definitely felt misleading. I agree. Mike said, "I think trailers need to not give the movie away, but we need to know the tone of the movie, because that threw me off." And I'll just say it: I did not like this movie. Damn, that's interesting, because Mike, you are in a camp of very few people. Now, I did like the movie, but I didn't love it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I do feel like a part of that is like expectations, um, because let's be real, right? Like in a realistic world, like you can't just be like, I'm not going to look at any trailers, I'm not going to look at any reviews or any comments, like, especially when you're part of the community, you can't just like turn that part off. You know what I'm saying? Naturally, you're going to end up coming across trailers, even just by going to the movies, looking at commentary on the movie. And so I feel like there's got to be some responsibility to like market the movie correctly. Like, hey, this is the kind of vibe that the movie is. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be some responsibility there with that. Because I feel like Weapons, the marketing and the trailer just don't match with the movie you got. And honestly, I felt that way with Long Legs too, man. Long Legs, they were talking about, oh, this is a masterpiece of a movie. It's the scariest movie in decades. Nick Cage is scary as hell. Da 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 da. And you go watch the movie, you just like, am I watching a different cut of this movie? Because it is not none of the things that y'all are saying. And that's kind of how I felt with Weapons too. We got JW in the chat that said, I thought the movie was okay, but didn't think it lived up to the hype. I felt like the trailers were scarier than the movie. I agree. Personally, I feel like um, Weapons is very light on the horror. It definitely feels more like a mystery thriller movie with like a horror attachment. You know what I'm saying? If you've seen the movie, you kind of know what I mean. Because I'm keeping it spoiler free. But that's just like, I mean, that's just the vibe of it. Like, it just really feels like a mystery thriller. And going into it, just because of that marketing too, people talking about how this is like the best horror movie that they've seen all year. Da 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 da. Uh, I'm like, dang, like this thing must be something serious. And then I watch it and I'm like, this shit ain't serious at all. It's super, it's super goofy. You know what I'm saying? It's got some jump scares here and there, but even at the final act of the movie, they make it goofy. You know what I'm saying? With what occurs, they even make the final act piece goofy, more like laughable. Effects were great, but it's like they make it like not as serious. And just when you compare that with the marketing, I just feel like it's misleading, man. And I don't know. I just don't. I just don't like the aspect of the marketing nowadays. I understand that the film industry is a business. They're trying to put butts in seats. I get that, but I mean, I feel like you still gotta like have some responsibility to kind of like, uh, you know, let people know what they're actually like walking into. Mika said, "I liked Long Legs, but it definitely wasn't scary." Nah, it really wasn't. It had like little moments, but overall, definitely not. It was not. It was not. It was not what the marketing was saying it was. With like, oh, this the scariest shit in generations. Like y'all ain't ready for this. It definitely wasn't like that. Uh, Michael said, "It's funny because I can tell he can make a straight up horror film based on certain scenes, but maybe comedy. I wait, hold up. It's funny because I can tell he can make a straight up horror film based on scenes, but maybe comedy is important to him. Oh, is important to him. Yeah. I'm wondering if he's going to do a funny Resident Evil 2. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you said that, Michael. I'm glad you said that because I kind of forgot. Like, I kind of forgot briefly that this dude was making a Resident Evil movie, and I didn't get reminded until like I was looking up stuff for weapons, and and I saw like one of the interviews where he's mentioning Resident Evil, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot this dude's doing Resident Evil. And now after watching Weapons, I'm like, damn man, like, is he gonna make that goofy too? Like, make it super like not serious, you know? And it's just weird to me because I feel like with Weapons, given like when you think about the trailers, right? Just the sheer premise of this movie of these kids missing, like that should automatically make the weight and the tone of the film kind of heavy. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of what I was expecting. It's weird to me to make it. I mean, I get maybe you want to kind of lighten stuff up to make it not as heavy, given the state of the world or something like that. But I don't know. Mike said, "Weapons gave me the tone of the monkey, and I ain't like that either." I don't think the tone was that bad. It wasn't as bad as the monkey. I feel like the monkey was like full on slapstick type comedy. I don't think Weapons was that bad of the comedy level, but it definitely wasn't super serious, and it definitely wasn't scary either. Michael mentioned the typos. Yeah, I got through it though. I got through it. Mika said I didn't like the monkey either. Yeah, I mean, I liked the monkey because of the kills. I think the story was not very good, but the kills I thought were a lot of fun. So that's like the main reason why I liked the monkey. Did not love it, but the kills I really did enjoy in that movie. JW said, I thought the acting was great at least. I do agree with that. So I thought the acting in Weapons, I thought that it was really good. There was some dialogue for Julia Garner's character I thought was kind of like questionable. Like, and I don't know if it was the delivery or just how they wrote the character like towards the beginning. But overall, I thought the performances were really good. Um, Yep, and then Mika mentioned, oh, I forgot he's doing Resident Evil face palm. Yes, yeah, it's a big face palm now. I'm like, come on, man, like, and it wasn't Zach? I feel like Zach Kreger was the same person that not too long ago was on an interview in regards to Resident Evil and mentioning the games, right? So if you played the games of Resident Evil, there's no like comedy in that shit. That shit is just straight, terrifying. Because he mentioned, oh, we're gonna, uh, really make this like the games, homage to the games, make it scary. It's just from point, you taking your character from point A to point B, and it's a bunch of terrifying experiences. I hope that's the case. But now I know to go into Resident Evil with like the expectation that it's not going to be a serious type of movie. Uh, Mr. Dan said, "No long legs is more of a slow burn." Yeah, it kind of had that element of the slow burn element a little bit. And in the chat said the trailer is kind of misleading, but I expected the switch up based on how Barbarian went. I was expecting it to be scarier though. Yeah, see, I had heard that too going into this movie. That it's like, oh, if you like Barbarian, you'll probably like this because Barbarian had a lot of goofiness too. Once the reveal happens, um, but I will say I did like Weapons more than like Barbarian, just because it's like I don't know the switch up in Barbarian just like it works, but for my personal taste, it just didn't work. I like some of the moments in Weapons a lot better. I think Weapons has a lot of like individual great moments. Like for I won't no spoilers, but the kitchen scene, you seen it? You know what I'm talking about? That shit was fire. But other than that, like yeah, it has like little moments that are good. I also didn't like the structure. I didn't like how they structured the weapons either. I was like this like POV like sectional type thing. I didn't feel that. I didn't like that much either. Uh JW said it should have been the tone of When Evil Lurks. Now the movie was disturbing. Ooh, that's big facts. Yeah, man. If Weapons had that kind of tone of When Evil Lurks, I think this movie would have hit way different. Uh, and I was telling Christy too, like because it deals with the idea of like, kids missing, like it's naturally got to have a heavy tone, man. Like that's just a disturbing thing. I couldn't imagine how I would be if my kids would just magically vanish. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I don't think that's something you can really make not serious. You know what I mean? And I was telling Christy, and I'll be mentioning this in our review of it. Like one of my favorite Denis Villeneuve movies is Prisoners. And Prisoners deals with the premise of like, two families whose kids go missing, and they go on a journey trying to find them, and then end up, doing a lot of like crazy shit while they are descending into madness because they can't find their kids. Um, and that movie was super, obviously super serious. It was a mystery thriller type movie. It had Hugh Jackman, Terrence Howard, and some other people. The movie is incredible, but I that's what I think about. Like as far as tone is concerned, I feel like Weapon should have had that kind of tone, given what you're dealing with here, and really capturing the emotions of the characters. I feel like you don't even really get to connect with the characters and Weapons that much because of how the little perspective like sections work. Um, let's see. Going back to the chat, Mike in the chat said, "Weapons solidified that I don't like Julia Garner and never will." Okay, that's funny. Christy feels the same way. She does not like Julia Garner either. She did mention that she liked her, better in this movie than like some of her previous ventures, like Wolfman. And I don't know if y'all have seen Fantastic Four, but I thought she was good as a Silver Surfer too. Uh, but yeah, it's I think unfortunately for Julia Garner, like she just had the perfect role in Ozark where she just killed it, and for some reason that like how talented she was in that show just isn't really translating to film. I feel like she is a little bit better, and I feel like she is better in Weapons though. Anne said he's not sticking to the Resident Evil stories. Well, I hope that what I kind of hope is he like chooses a game and then maybe just kind of follows through with that. I feel like that would probably be the best route. If he wants to write his own original thing, that's cool, but just make it scary. Mika said, I think I've read somewhere that Zach Cracker said he's not following the games for Resident Evil. Well, shit. Uh, that's not good then. Hopefully they can come up with something really good that works. uh Mika was talking about When Evil Lurks is a place of nightmares. I can't watch that again. Yeah, When Evil Lurks is like a totally different. That's a different beast. That movie was crazy, crazy. Uh, Michael in the chat said the POV aspect, referring to weapons. I liked it, but it was teasing me. If you don't get, he said, if you don't get these damn kids with the wild arms running. Yeah, see, I was telling Christy the same thing. Like, because they do this POV thing, you don't really get the chance to like be invested in the characters. Uh, that's one of my biggest gripes with the movie. Is like you don't get time to get like to really care. You know what I'm saying? Uh, yeah, I wasn't a fan of that little shift. Uh, Mike said, talking about Julia Garner, she was talented in Ozark, or was the writing just that good that made her look good? Think about it. That's true because the writing in Ozark is like top tier television writing. Like Ozark, that shit is like some god tier drama series stuff. That series was incredible. Performances, writing, but you might be right. It could just be the writing, and that's what I was saying with Weapons too. The writing for her character at times I felt like just was not that great. Mr. Dan said, I can't get Garner's accent from Ozark out of my head when I see her. Maybe she was too good in that. I agree. Like, that's what I'm telling. Like, her character in Ozark was like, I guess, just like the perfect match for her as a performer. But yeah, like her accent and delivery, like even her emotions, like she had some very like emotionally heavy scenes in Ozark that worked really, really good. That I feel like just don't, for whatever reason, come across in the films. It's weird. I don't get why. But yeah, man, the I don't know. I feel like the trailers and the marketing stuff, Weapons, was a little bit misleading, uh, and I feel like I got set up for the okie doke going into this movie, especially with everybody like worshiping this movie. Um, that I just didn't see the greatness, and I didn't see the horror that was being sold to me. Like, y'all remember when they did like the stream on YouTube with like what was it? There was just like an image on the stream or something like that for Weapons. Like they did the website, like Maybrook is missing website or whatever. Like they made it feel like, oh, this is going to be a super serious, terrifying movie with kids that just randomly went missing. Um, and the movie just does not live up and match to that whatsoever. And it's weird because I see so many good reviews, like 95% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm just like, damn, like, do we watch the same movie? Um, like uh, two favorite horror films of this year, Sinners and Bring Her Back. Like those are my top two like horror films of the year. And I feel like both of those films didn't get this level of worship. You know what I'm saying? Like Sinners definitely didn't. I think community wise it did, but I think critically, like there was plenty of critics that were trying to downplay that shit. But I feel like, man, like the critic sphere on this weapons joint is like, it's weird how much they're worshiping this movie, and even for Bring Her Back, like I think Bring Her Back got like a 80 something percent of Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like Bring Her Back is way better than Weapons from a writing standpoint, a storytelling standpoint, and an emotional like character journey standpoint. I think Bring Her Back like stomps this movie in terms of all those factors. So I just think it's weird, man. Like that uh that the critics are, you know, praising this movie to that degree. Um I personally just don't really understand it. But let me look at the chat here real quick. Mika said, "What cut did they get?" Right, exactly. I don't know what cut they got, but I want the same cut. Michael said, "Whenever people say it's the scariest, I'm already doubting it." Yeah, yep. And see, I think what messes me up is they'll say that, and the trailer will be cut so good. Like, think about the weapons trailers. Those weapons trailers were cut and edited like perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Um, Mike said, "Yes, they made this movie feel like the vibes of Sinister, and the movie gave me parents, and not in a good way." Hey, that's true. That's true. They definitely did give it that kind of vibe. Mike said he gave Weapons a 2.5 out of 5, and only got that extra .5 for that ending. The ending has some great effects, but they definitely made it goofy. Whoa, whoa! Mika said, "I didn't like Bring Her Back." Come on now. Come on now. How you not like Bring Her Back? That movie was now. You know how they be worshiping damn weapons. Now Bring Her Back. That shit. That's damn near masterpiece level in my opinion. That movie was incredible. Uh, Mika said, "I don't do body horror." That's fair because they did have some like really like crazy moments with the body horror in Bring Her Back. But man, the impact that I felt leaving the theater for Bring Her Back was like super high. Like I kept thinking about that shit for a hot minute. Like Weapons is the kind of movie where I didn't seen it, and the only reason I'm thinking about it is because I'm talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But there's no real impact on me. Even the way they conclude the story, like it's just no like even how it ends, it just kind of ends. Um, and I'm just kind of like, oh, like that's it. Mike said, okay, then that's fair. If you don't like body horror, you won't like that movie. Yeah. Uh, the body horror is like truly nasty and Bring Her Back. But see, that's why I love, you know, Danny and Mike Philippou, man. They are pushing the horror stuff to a good place. Like, because they have, see, what I love about it is they've got great writing combined with great horror. And they're just they're 2 for 2 in terms of their feature films. I can't wait to see whatever their next project is because the type of shit they make, I really like. Because for me personally, I like Bring Her Back even more than Talk to Me personally. Um, yeah, Mika mentioned that Bring Her Back, the body horror was really heavy, and she almost threw up. Dang it. Michael said, "Bring Her Back did suspense so well. It did. It did suspense super well, and by the end of that film, like the emotional weight of everything was just so heavy, and the journey everybody kind of went through, it was just crazy." Mike said, "Bring Her Back had me contemplating, do I dethrone Sinners from my one spot?" Spoiler, it didn't. But I get what you mean though, because I mean, Sinners and Bring Her Back are two very different types of films. So like in terms of like how you rank them, I can understand what you're trying to say because I kind of had that same thought process because they're just different types of movies. Uh, but I do think Sinners, just from the sheer perspective of like a movie, just out even outside of a genre, just a movie, I think Sinners is definitely like uh, the best movie of the year so far. Um, and that's just real. Like just how many times I've seen that movie, and I tell you, I don't rewatch movies like that. It's just how good that movie is. And I actually went back. I pulled up Sinners on Rotten Tomatoes. Uh, the critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes is actually 97%, so it is pretty high. Um, so there weren't too many critics that was trying to, but the average is 406 reviews, so it is a lot. So I'd be curious. I gotta do the math on like how much 3% out of 406 is, but that's actually still pretty good though from that critic perspective. Mike in the chat said, "I'm so excited for talk to me. There is no caller ID in hell." Yo, see, hey, look, with Talk to Me, when they do that next one, I want them to really look into that hell aspect. We got a brief glimpse of it in like super flash scenes in the first one. And if you look at the interviews that Danny and Mike did talking about Talk to Me, they mentioned that they actually shot more like disturbing footage than involved, the hell sequences, but they cut it out because they felt like it was too much. And I'm like, bro, like I want to see that director's cut, but that shit added back in. Like I want y'all to just knock me out with some super crazy shit. But yeah, y'all. I mean, that's pretty much all I really want to talk about with the misleading aspect. I was just curious to see how other people were feeling, but that's how I was feeling coming out of Weapons. Was like, I don't know, I just got set up for the okie doke, between the critics worshiping the movie to the trailers and the marketing really perpetuating like, this was a masterpiece of a horror film. It's scary. The trailers really making me think this is going to be a serious, heavy, dark horror film, like true horror film is what I was really expecting based off what they were selling me. And that is just not what I got. And just had me thinking about, other misleading trailers that, I think back all the way to, like, what is it, like the mid to late 2010s when A24 had like The Witch coming out and It Comes at Night coming out, and how those trailers were like, for The Witch, they're like, oh, it's the scariest movie in decades. Like there's same rhetoric, you know what I'm saying? And The Witch is definitely atmospheric horror in the fact that it's, creepy, but it definitely ain't like super scary, you know what I'm saying? And It Comes at Night, I feel like it's probably the ultimate culprit in terms of like that kind of like misleading marketing. Because I don't know if y'all remember when that movie came out, like people were just like, yo, this is like, do y'all remember the poster for It Comes at Night? Hold on, let me pull this up. Because honestly, It Comes at Night has one of the most fire, creepy ass posters. And that was just not the movie at all. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I still remember when the shit came out, and I remember when I saw that poster with the dog, and I was like, "Yo, this movie gonna be scary as hell." Let me see if I can find that poster. I got this. There's the one. I can show this one too because this is a good example too. Hold on, let me share my screen on this one real quick. Okay, see, here's this poster. Look at that poster. It Comes at Night. Damn. That's a crazy ass poster. If you're listening on the podcast, you don't remember It Comes at Night. This poster has the dude with the lantern like in front of the red door, and it has It Comes at Night and the vertical text at the top. And it's like real dark and moody. Yeah, and there's another poster too. I'm gonna try to find the other poster as well. But I feel like It Comes at Night was one of the best ultimate contenders for misleading marketing. And you know what's funny too? So I didn't watch the movie when it first came out, but I remember people saying like, "Oh, this was nothing like the trailer. Like it was going in on this movie." And then it wasn't until like months later that I finally watched it, and I went in knowing, okay, this is not like a horror movie traditional. It's a post-apocalyptic drama. And when I went in knowing that, I actually liked it. I was like, it's actually pretty good. Knowing what I'm getting, I actually liked it. You know what I'm saying? Mike said they felt it was too much. Oh, this is talking about the Talk to Me with Danny and Mike saying they had to cut some of that stuff out of the first Talk to Me. He said they felt like it was too much, and then they gave us Bring Her Back. Makes sense. It'll make it make sense. Yeah, I know. Mika said the marketing definitely got butts and seats. They played us. Congratulations. Yep, they played us for real. Mike talking about the poster. The poster goes hard, but I like the movie more than most. You see, I agree, but I think I only liked it as much as I did because I went in knowing this is a post-apocalyptic drama, not a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? Mika said the movie was a letdown. Yes, how a lot of people feel. We got what is that? Oh, okay. In the chat said, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only disappointed one. I was so excited for this movie, and I expected something so different. Yeah, that's how I feel too. Uh, I'm not super disappointed. Uh, because I still liked the movie, but I just didn't feel like it was great, and it was mainly because of that factor of I didn't get what they were selling me with the trailers and the marketing. Let me see if I can find the other It Comes at Night poster too. There's another It Comes at Night poster that's got a dog on it, like looking out into the darkness. Super fire poster. Like I'm talking about crazy fire poster. I think I found it. Hold up, let me pull this one up because this is one of my favorite posters. Like I still remember when I first saw this poster and I was like, yo, like this movie about to be crazy. Let me see if I can present this. And y'all look at this poster real quick. I don't know if y'all remember this one, but here's another one. Boom. That was one of the posters they dropped for that movie, and I was like, yeah, I was like, damn, like what's coming at night? You know, it comes at night. I'm like, what's coming? So if you listen on the podcast, this particular poster of It Comes at Night, it was literally just like a dog on a chain in like the bottom of the poster in the foreground, and then the pitch black in front of the dog, and then the words at the top that just says "It Comes at Night." The marketing was crazy for this movie, making it feel like it was about to be one of the scariest horror movies in a while. From the posters to the trailers, and then like people just got fucking Mike Tyson right hook to the face dropped because that is definitely not what this movie was in terms of how they were selling it with from the posters and stuff like that. But I feel like it's stuff like that, like this type of marketing. Weapons has that same type of marketing where they're trying to sell you that this movie is like terrifying, dark, it's serious. Where these kids go, and then that's just not what you get when you watch the movie. It's not what you get. Uh, but yeah, so it is what it is. Michael in chat said, "LOL, I remember this movie. You know what? I'm bringing these people up on charges." I'm trying to tell y'all that marketing was like crazy marketing. Uh, uh, okay, in the chat said the whole thing with the kids all going missing was a great setup for something crazy, and then it just turned into nothing. The movie does leave you feeling that way at the end because it kind of just ends, and you're just kind of like, okay, that was it. And I think it has a lot to do with how I'm keeping it spoiler free, just in case someone's watching this or listening just hadn't seen the movie. It's spoiler free, but just how even they reveal what's going on, like even that feels nonchalant. You know what I'm saying? And the seriousness, even they present like, oh, okay, yep, this is what's happening. Even that just doesn't feel. It's a dope scene. It just doesn't feel like super like terrifying in the reveal aspect. Mika said, I walked out saying, the hell did I watch?" Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that doesn't that feels that way. That this was not the the masterpiece that everyone was talking about. Like that junk was. I was so confused seeing so many people saying like, "Oh, this is my favorite horror film." Excuse me, it's my favorite horror film of the year. Like this is a favorite horror film in years. Like you know, Zach Kreger is a beast. Like da 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 da. Like I'm just like, man, I am confused right now. Mike said, "Yes, I feel like there was no setup and weapons at all. All the information was just so easily given." Yeah, when they reveal what's happening, it's just like, there it is, right there. There you go. They're just kind of like, oh, okay. Okay, said Jordan would have fixed that movie. You talking about Weapons? Oh, because Weapons was the movie that Jordan Peele wanted initially, or something like that. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Mike said it in the chat. Yeah, that's right. People saying Peele's kicking himself for not picking this up. Nah, that's why he didn't pick it up. Yeah, like that's. I do remember that rhetoric. I do remember that rhetoric. That's crazy. People, yeah, you're right. People were like, "Oh man, Peele gonna regret this that he didn't pick this one up." Not for what? For what? I guarantee him gonna be way better than this shit. I guarantee you that him probably gonna be way better than this. Uh, so I don't think he regretting not picking this up. I don't see why he would feel that way. There's nothing about Weapons that's like, uh, this is the greatest horror movie of the year. No, it is definitely not. I don't think it's bad, but it is not the greatest of the year. Like people are tripping. And yeah, and I agree with what Kay said. If Jordan Peele got involved, he probably would have probably fixed it up, you know, uh, and been like, nah, hey, let's do this a certain kind of way. Um, Mika said, "Listen, I blocked someone because they said it was better than the Sinners. Get off my timeline." What? Are you serious? That is crazy. I would never trust another thing that person said. If they said that Weapons was better than Sinners, there's no way that anybody could believe that on this whole planet. That's impossible. Sinners had way more going on than Weapons from literally every perspective. From the cinematography to the music to the performances to the writing to like the tone of the movie. You to the marketing, you got what you got. What they sold you is what you got, and even better. Those people are tripping. I don't know how you could think that Weapons is better than Sinners. That's just insanity, man. There's something wrong with that person for real. I see why you blocked them because I would never listen to another take they had ever. If you thought Weapons is better, you got the worst takes online. Period. That's it. Oh, we got Sam in the chat. What's up, Sam? She said that she loved Weapons. Oh man, I didn't love Weapons. I liked it. I didn't love it though. I don't think it's I personally just don't think I don't think it's great. But it's not bad. It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely not great. I liked it though. I liked certain aspects of the film. I'm keeping it spoiler free, but I liked certain aspects of the film. And Chrissy and I will do our review of it later on. We'll drop it on here on podcast. Mike in the chat said that it's nowhere near his top 10. Damn, he said nowhere near the top 10. So top 10 of the year. Damn, didn't crack the top 10. That's crazy. I don't even think I have I don't think Christy and I have our top 10 really written down, but that's something we definitely got to do is like go ahead and list out the top 10 because I really don't know what the bottom of my list would look like. I already know it will be at the top. Sinners and Bring Her Back to the top for me, 100%. But I don't know what the bottom of my list would look like when I get into that like 7, 8, 9, 10 range. So I couldn't say for sure where Weapons would fall. Mike said, I like that it ended. Damn, Mike, you really didn't like this movie. Yo, that's crazy. Mika said, to be fair, I liked it, but dang, I could have watched it at home. Facts. I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. 100% agree. Yeah, Mike, that comment was crazy though. I like that it ended. I didn't. Yeah, you really don't like that movie. I respect it though. I respect it and I understand it. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much it for the live show. It's been about an hour, so I'll probably cut it out here. Thank y'all to all y'all that joined the chat, contributing to the conversation. Mike, Mika, Mr. Dan, okay, Sam coming in, Michael. Shout out to all y'all. And there was Ann back at the earlier at the top. We had a JW in the chat as well. Shout out to all y'all who came in here, contributing to the conversation, making it that much better, making it that much more fun and more interesting, and just appreciate that support coming in and just chopping it up. But yeah, that's hey look. Make sure you are subscribed and following because Chrissy and I's review. We'll do a spoiler-free review and a spoiler review for Weapons, so you're gonna see exactly what we thought about the film in detail, especially when we get that spoiler discussion because I got a lot to say about some of the elements in Weapons that, especially the ones that I just did not like, that I think keep this movie from being as great as people saying that it is. But that's it for this one. Make sure y'all subscribed and tuned in. There'll be another episode of Scream If You've Seen This dropping this week on Wednesday. So make sure you're subscribed over on the podcast channels. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube for that review, for the review when that drops. Again, as always, appreciate all the YouTube members and the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting us on that level. Appreciate that. Appreciate the chat right now. Saying it's a great conversation. Thank you for a great live. Thank y'all for showing up. Showing love and support and just chopping it up, talking about this week's news and talking about Weapons. Weapons is going to be an interesting conversation. As more people see this film, I'll be curious to see how the community begins to talk about this. But I will tell you, after doing this live and talking with y'all, I feel a bit better because I definitely thought I was in the minority because I was like, I'm looking at people's reviews and shit. I literally went on Rotten Tomatoes and started reading reviews because I'm like, yeah, I'm confused. Like, I'm confused on how y'all think this is like the greatest shit. I'm not understanding it. So it's cool that a lot of y'all kind of felt that same way. Hey, look, still love the people that really like the movie. Some movies work better for other people depending on what they like with those films. So hey, there's nothing wrong with that. If you loved it, that's all good. But it just didn't work for me at that level. I liked it, but I didn't love it. But you'll find out more in those reviews later on. As always, again, appreciate y'all. And we'll see you on the next live stream. We'll see you on the next review. And we'll see you on Wednesday on the podcast channel for Screen If You've Seen This. I'm out. Peace.